flowering stuff up for you guys. I am just making sure that you understand that I am here to teach you. I'm not here to make you feel good about yourself. Okay. I'm not going to flower things up for you. I mean, so don't take anything personal. It's just that we want to make you better. All right. I'm not going to worry about spending a whole lot of time saying, okay, well, no, you did really well here. I will say you did good. You completed the assignment. So that part's good. We actually want to get to the body of it and where you want to watch out for things of that nature. Brandon, before you got here, I pointed out to Cody some of the, let me, where did Discord go back? Did I close Discord? I guess I did. Let me just bring it back up. All right, on this particular assignment, I did have a rotated picture, but you're never going to have text that goes down. Okay, this tells you right away this is meant to be rotated this way. Okay, so kind of in a counterclockwise motion, but 90 degrees that direction. All right, and so you can see that quickly by the fact that I would not rotate text down. Okay, text is either going to be from 0 and 90 degrees. Okay, excellent. All right, and what we did here is I also was pointing out that this is actually supposed to be a push button. You're supposed to be able to push this in and make contact between these two things here. So you definitely wanted to have these things a little closer to where they're supposed to be. I mean, I can stretch this in. Well, that block's not coming in. Okay, now here's another issue. Now here's a fun part. Here's actually a little educational part here. Now, see this. Now the insertion point for this block should be the center or one of the corners or one of the quadrants of this circle. But if you look here, the center is down here. Because what happens is I go to use the stretch command. I encompass the circle and the two endpoints there, and I go to drag it down, and look what happens. The circle does not come with it because the insertion point is not inside the block. It's nowhere near the block. So I grabbed everything, but it didn't come down. So this is a fault you have when you're creating a block. So I'm going to click on this one here and see where this one is. This one is way down here. Okay, so you always want to make sure you pick that insertion point well and make sure you understand how that works. So without further ado, we're going to kind of get into going into these here. Now, something that Brandon and yourself, Cody, ran into was the array command puts you in a block array. This used to be a totally separate command. I'm not a big fan of the block array. It's useful, but it's got some problems with it. All right. And so what happens is when you do the array, it's here. You can sit here and play with it. You can do things with it. You can continue. It's you move it around. It becomes this one thing. All right. You can click on it. You can actually go down here. You can add more deals to it. You can add 60 to it, and it kind of rotates out a little bit better. You can change a few more things up. This is set to a divide method is what you ended up using here. It's not something we really want to do there. All right. And here's a circle here, and this was another array. I assume you used an array here. If you didn't, then array would have been a better option to do there. Y'all did great with the hands. Unfortunately, Cody put 2 hour hands on here instead of a minute hour hands, but I'm just beating up on that. That's kind of funny. And also, when you're drawing your borders, make sure that your borders are straight. This border is not straight. If you look at that, the right-hand side is higher than the left-hand side of this particular border. And this border size is not a standard border size. So we check the distance from E and D point of here to E and D point of here. We get 31.9765 by 24.0982. That is definitely not a standard size D size. All right, standard D size, architectural D size is a 24 by 36. That means it's 24 inches this way and 36 inches this way. All right, ANSI D size is a 22 by 34, 22 up and 34 this way. So pick one of those and go with it. Don't just arbitrarily draw a box and say, okay, that looks pretty close. All right, always know what you have and stick with something that's a standard. If you go with standards, it's easy to adjust your stuff to somebody else's stuff. But if you've actually drawn a whole bunch of crap on there at random sizes, random things here and there and everything else, it's not going to be beneficial for you to actually get things done. All right. I won't beat up Brandon on his drawing here because this is supposed to be his house and it's more concentrated on his property line, and it looks like some of his house here divided up and looks like he kind of drew some of the rooms here. So I'm gonna let Brandon continue to work on this particular effort and continue that on here. Here was Brandon's exercise on here. Now, Brandon, you drew a clock but it's all 12s. Okay, you needed to go through and update those. All right, I did want to see the minute hands. You didn't quite get there with that because you were actually trying to work out that array command, and that's what we're gonna kind of show out here tonight. All right, so now let's do the clock. All right, so we draw a circle from E and D point to our C 0, up here. If I can type 0, and I'm going to make it. Let's make it. Say it's a 1 foot, about a I want a 1 foot clock. So I'm going to get a radius of 6 inches. All right, so here we are. I have my clock. All right, so the first thing I can do is I can actually just an offset of this. Say I put my offset in here. I'll say 0.5. I'll do a 1/2 inch offset in to get my little offset in there. I'm going to draw a line from QA quadrant of here to quadrant of here. Gives me a nice straight line. That's my tick mark there that I'm actually trying to get across there. All right, I'm good with that. All right. So now what I could do is I could keep that size, or I can make it smaller, whatever I want to do. I'm going to stick with that size because that's actually kind of a nice size. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to use the array again. I'm going to use dash array. Okay. Dash array gives me the traditional array command. Okay. Hit array. I'm going to pick my objects. It's just going to be this right here. All right. From here, I'm going to say a P for polar array, a circular array, essentially. I can center up here. And then it's asking me for number of items I want in the array. How many seconds are in an hour? 60. I'm going to type in 60. And I'm going to say 360 degrees. Do I want to rotate them as I go? Yes, I do. There's my tick marks. I am good to go. All right, but now I need to have my hour marks in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply use the offset command. And I'm going to offset 0.25. All right. I'm going to come in a little bit farther with that. All right. Yeah, I'm good there. Now I can actually use the extend command. And I can just extend these longer ones, this one to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and I know it's here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then I know it's the bottom one. Boom. Then I can count up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Oops, here, here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then I know it's this middle one. Oops. Pick it. Then I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. All right, so now I've got those. Now I can erase these 2 circles. I don't care for this one or this one. And now I've got my clock taking a shape. Okay, I can go ahead and draw my circle from the center. Boom. And I can go ahead and make this a 0.5 inch diameter there. I can kind of cheat here now and draw a line from quadrant of here out to, let's say I can actually take it to the end point of here. And then I take it back to the quadrant of here. All right. But maybe I actually don't want that going to the quadrant because it kind of crosses that line there. So I can actually cheat and use the tangent. Okay. TAN of, because I want it to be smooth. I want it to touch that circle at the exact point it would hit. So I'm going to take this back and put a tangent here. And so now I have it at the tangents. So that's nice and smooth. All right. And I can actually take these points, like crossing here. Instead of using the stretch command, I can use the grip stretch command. And I can take this and kind of bring it back, hit F8 so I'm not dragging it down weird. Hit F8 here. And I can bring this down to, let's say, bring it back in 0.75. Boom. So I'm good there. Now I can actually rotate this from center of here. Boom, because I want that showing up, and it's there. Now I can use the mirror command and cheat this part. I could redraw it. And I can say center of here. Boom. And since I actually want an exact 90-degree thing, I can use a mirror line that's 45 degrees from where I'm at. So I can simply say at 2 at 45 degrees. The length doesn't matter, it's just the angle. Okay, and then here I am, it's asking me, do you want to erase the source objects? In for no, and I'm good. But I need to stretch this down because it's actually the hour hand. So I'm going to bring that back in, 1 inch. Okay, so now we can see that's actually 3 o'clock. And just because I might want this a little longer, I can stretch this back up and I'm going to bring it up another 0.25, kind of give a little extra hump there. But I do want my numbers to be in here as well. So I might actually kind of tweak this a little bit better. So my rotation is going to be 0 degrees for all these pieces of text. So I want to take my piece of text. I'm going to type in T1, not T1, text, and I'm going to place it the middle Okay, I can place it up here at the top. I'm gonna go put it at the endpoint of this. Boom. And I'm gonna hit my height. Okay. Actually, I'm on angle. I need to actually fix this because I'm on a particular text style that's predefined. My rotation is going to be 0, and I'm just going to set that to 12. Boom. All right. I'm going to change that back to the 0 layer, pretend I didn't do that, and we'll kind of go there. And I'm going to check the style, and I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to pick this and change the style back to standard, what it should have been on. All right. And then I'm going to change the height to 1. All right, 1's a good height. All right, might be a little bit big, so let's try a little bit different height. You notice when I use the middle, it only grows from the middle. It doesn't grow from here up. It grows from the middle, half this way and half that way. So that's why I picked the middle justification. All right, so I'm going to set my height to 0.5. That's a little too small in my opinion, so I'm going to go 0.75. And again, you want to look at your proportion and make sure it kind of fits for you, and you're kind of good. All right, so it's not too bad. The hour hand or the minute hand is going across top of it. I'm actually okay with that because it kind of shows exactly where it's supposed to be going. I'm going to use the dash array command again. I'm going to pick my piece of text, and I'm going to say polar from the center of here. And it's going to say how many items you want to rate. I want 12. All right, and I'm just going to say 360 degrees. Do you want to rotate? No, I do not, because I want my text to all be at this rotation. So I'm going to say no. So it all changes there. Now at this point, I need to actually change the text. So I'm going to double click on each one of them. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, that's 6. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And there's our clock. Now, in looking at this, it does look kind of squirrely to have that so far out there. So I'm going to bring this down, and I'm just going to bring it down 0.5. And to make it, it's pretty clear how it actually looks. You can see that it's actually 3 o'clock. This is much shorter than this one, and you're good to go. And there's our clock face. If I wanted to have a little more offset, which I think we did in our original picture, let me go back to, did I close Discord again? I sure did. Boom, let's see, clock face. Yeah, had a different offset in there as well. So you could actually put a couple of different things in there. So you could have put another offset in here. I could offset it, and I can say, let's say 0.375. You go this way. You could also go this way as well, kind of build it out where it looks a little more fancy. So again, you go any direction that you want to do it. If I wanted these actually lines to actually match up with that endpoint of that one, I could simply just 0.125 more out, I think is what it is. Oh, I erased it. My bad. All right, erase last. Good. So there's our clock, and that's kind of how that kind of comes together, and you can see how that works. If I move it off the origin lines, you can kind of see it a little better without the lines going through it. And there you are. And, oh, there's what I did that. I changed that. Okay, so that's the clock exercise. All right, so we're good there. Either you guys have any questions on what I did there?
I know you
No,
definitely made it a lot easier. Oh, sorry.
I just want to say that I thought it was friggin' brilliant that you used the 0, 0 for the center. I was using the line command to hit all 4 quadrants of the middle circle to get my center. That was extra work I didn't have to do.
That is correct. You can, yeah, you don't have to do that. You can also use the O snaps to grab those things as well. But if you start from 0, 0, 0, like you said, it's your point of origin. You know where it's at, and you can just start drawing from that point forward. So that does make life a lot easier. So understand where you're at and understand what the benefits you can have from where you actually start your drawing from. All right, so I'm going to erase all that. Ooh, maybe. All right, delete. All right, now let's talk about the second part. Our actually the first assignment, which was the this part up here. All right, I'm probably not going to draw the. I actually messed up this drawing, but we'll get into that later. This actually come down here and skip this part here, but we're going to draw this a little bit. All right, move that out of the way and put that up so I can see it. Let me open that. Open the peak. All right, so there we go. All right, so what I had mentioned was you basically want to create these line works. Okay, so you want to create a layer. All right, so let's create a layer. We'll call it hot or line. Let's call it line. All right, boom. Now you don't have to get this detailed on it, but I'm just trying to show you how to take advantage of the layers and such like that. I'm gonna set this to red. All right, and we're gonna create um, let's see, neutral over here. Neutral. All right, we're gonna set that to this pretty color here. All right, and we're gonna create a layer for symbols. All right, and we're gonna set that to let's go with green. Green's good, shows up pretty well. All right, excellent. Okay, so first off, we want to draw our border. From 0, 0, 0. Boom. And again, what size is that side? We're gonna make it 36. Okay, then we're gonna go up 24 over 36. And notice ortho is on, and I'm just drawing the angle, the distance, and typing in my distances. And I'm gonna hit C for close. Now I have my border. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a margin. I'm gonna go ahead and make it 1 inch just for good measure. And I'm offset that in. Now I can create a layer. We can call that border. Okay, you always want to start your drawing off properly with an appropriate thing. I'm going to make this kind of a grayish looking color so it kind of stands out there. And then I'm going to highlight this and let's put that all on border. All right, good. So we have our border. Now our size for our symbols. A typical good size for a symbol is something that you want it to show up well on a drawing. Okay, did somebody type something in here? Get here. Brandon, use 0. Oh, gotcha. I see that you're typing that. Add that to notes. Nice. All right. So you want to make sure that you have something that makes sense. You understand your symbol sizes and such like that. Now, if we go back over here to this one here, yes, these are huge. This is almost a 1 inch circle, and this is about a 3/8, almost a 1/2 inch circle here. For dots, that's not exactly your dot is not a preemptive thing. Okay, so if you're all circle and you put a circle in here, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna set it to 0.0625. That is an 1/8 inch diameter circle. All right, so I'm gonna put this on 0. The first thing I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna make a block out of this. We're just gonna call this connect. Okay, so I'm gonna type in block. All right, and I'm going to type the name of it. We're gonna call it connect dot. Okay, I'm going to say open as well because it's an open, it's not solid filled. Okay, I'm going to pick my point, my center point, and that's my quadrant is going to be, I can't even talk. My insertion point is going to be the center of the circle. Boom, like so. I'm going to select my objects, boom, and it's going to ask me, do you want to convert to block, delete it, what do you want to do? Open in block editor, no, I don't care to. I'm done, convert to block is good. Now I can pick this. And you notice it put it on the layer that I'm currently on. Now I can bring this in here. It's actually good. I'm gonna hit F8. I'm gonna hit F9, make sure I'm on F9, and I'm gonna place that. Now, my F9 is my snap. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I set my snap to something reasonable. It's at a 1/2 inch. That is huge. Okay, if I dropped another one of these, I'm probably not gonna hit anywhere where I want it to be. So I'm gonna set my snap to 0.0625. That's a really good snap for a wiring diagram or something similar to that effect. Because now, if I want to draw a line from one side of this or the other side or the top or center, I can because this is an 1/8 inch across and my snap is 0.0625. So half of that is right there. So I can draw here, here, and I can come up F8 here. All right, now again, we're going to set this to our line. Okay, we're going to put this on our symbol layer. That way, because when we start copying things, at least we're copying things that make sense now. Okay, so here we are. All right, so that's a connect point. All right, so I'm going to copy this over here, and a good distance for a switch is like 3/4 inch. Okay, I'm going to say 0.75 here. That's actually a little bit long because it's probably a 1/2 inch is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to pick there, and I'm actually just going to over here 0.25, and there it is. Now I want to draw my switch line from QUA of here to here. Now I actually didn't have to type in QUA because my snap points are there, but this was a switch that's actually a little bit off. So I'm going to put there. I'm going to draw my line. Draw my line from the middle of this. Okay. Now, as long as my snaps are good, I should be good. And look, my midpoint is right in the center, so I'm good there. And I can bring that up. I'm going to say 0.125. But and that's what my switch looks like. Still looks a little bit odd to me. This might be a little too big. I'll have to check that and see if it makes me happier. It might need to be 0.0625. So, but what's nice is since I made these blocks, I can easily edit this and then fix that. So this is actually still too big for me. So I'm going to type in edit. I'm going to open the edit, and I'm just going to take this and come in 0.03125. All right, but you're gonna notice what this does is it's gonna mess up my snaps for this particular circle because my snap is on one side or the other. All right, so that means it's gonna be a little bit off where I want this to be. So I can adjust my snap to be smaller is one way to deal with it. So I'm gonna close this. Okay, my changes, and now it's a little bit smaller. So I need to type my snap. I'm gonna set to 0.03125. So half of that. So now I'm back in here, and now I can snap that to there, and I'm good to go. Now I'm gonna draw my line from this side here and bring it this way. All right. Again, what's nice about this is I can easily go back and modify this. So if I look at this, I'm like, you know what? I really did like the circle size I had before. I could simply undo. And I'm here. All right, so I'm good. So we're going to stick with that circle size. I like it. All right, snap is back to 0.0625 because I undid that command. Now, this, I want all this to be a block. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change all this to the zero layer. Boom, because I want it on the zero layer because the zero layer is a special layer in the sense that when you make a block and you insert that block with entities on zero layer, it takes on the properties of the layer you actually inserted it upon. So we're going to block this. And we're going to call this push switch in a normally open. Okay, and I'll pick my point. My point for this one is going to be over here on this edge. Okay, because that's where I want to actually be able to line from things. I'm select my objects here, boom. And then it's going to convert that to a block. It's going to place it on the current layer. I actually want that on the symbols layer. So I'm going to click there and put that on the symbols layer. And now everything looks as it should. All right. So now we're going to draw a line from here over to here. Boom. And now we need another symbol. I need the symbol for, let's see what symbol. Oh, that's too big. Way too big. All right. So now I need the symbol for, we need a contact. Okay. Yeah. All right. Actually, I wanted to take this over to the coil. Okay. And so we're going to take this. I'm going to CL this. I'm basically changing to that layer. All right. So we're going to make another symbol. I'm going to copy this from here over to here. All right, now instead of this being this way, I'm going to go ahead and explode it because I'm going to work on this part. I'm going to erase this. Oops, undo that. My bad. Explode it. All right. Problem is this could not be exploded. That's my bad. I made it to where it couldn't be exploded. So I'm going to type in B edit. I'm going to go modify that. All right. To change, make it to where I can explode it, I'm going to come in here. Now I'm in the block, but I need to click on here to look at the properties of the block. Okay. Block name, annotative, no. Allow exploding, no. So I'm going to simply change this to yes down here. And then I'm going to exit the block. I'm B closed. And it makes that a block. Now I can explode the block because I don't want this to, I want this one to stay, but I'm exploding this particular one here. Because now I want to draw another circle from, I'm going to use a 2-point circle here because I want to go from here over to here. There's my coil. All right. Now I need to put an attribute inside my coil. First, I'm going to change this layer on this to 0. All right. And I want to go ahead and set my layer to 0 because I'm going to actually draw an attribute. All right. So let's create a style for my attributes. All right. Now I have text 125 here, which stands for text that's 0.125 in height. I'm actually okay with that. So I'm going to keep that. We'll go with that. You can make it any size you want, but 0.125 is basically what we're looking for here. So now I'm going to type in ATTDEF. This is an attribute definition that I'm creating right now. It looks like a piece of text, acts like a piece of text, but it is a data-centric piece of information. The tag, we're going to call this coil, okay? You can type in lowercase here, but it's going to switch that to uppercase regardless, okay? Coil tag, okay? And default is just going to be M, okay? All right. So I'm going to set middle. Remember, one in middle. Now to get it truly middle, you want to use middle center. Okay. So I'm going to use that. Invisible, no. Constant, no. Verify, no. Preset, no. Lock position, yes. I want it to stay exactly where I put it. Multiple lines, no. Insertion point, specify on screen. I'm going to specify that in just a second. Everything else looks good. Rotation is going to be 0. I'm going to pick OK. It's going to ask me to pop it smart. Now it looks like it's not doing center because it's just placing it. Once you place it, it actually rejustifies. I'm going to go to the center of the circle. Click, and there it is. So here's my attribute definition. It's not an attribute yet. It's an attribute definition. So now I'm going to make this a block. type in block. And I'm going to call this coil. All right, not coil. All right, my insertion point is going to be this quadrant over here, not the center, but the quadrant. You could use the center if you really want to do, but it's not what I recommend because when you're rotating these things, you typically want to spot you're starting from. So I'm going to use the left-hand side. All right, let's select my objects. Now, if you have multiple attributes, you want to pick them in the order that you want to be prompted for. We only have one here, so that's what we're kind of going for. All right, and it's going to convert it to a block. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to allow exploding. That's fine because we're still working in this area. I'm going to pick OK, and now it's done. Now it's set it to the default of what it is. So if I double click on this now, it'll pop up the attribute editor. Now I can change this to something else. I can change this to red, R for red or something similar to that. And you see it says red now. All right, but it's part of a block. So it's all one thing. So if I grab it and move it, okay, the whole thing moves. I'm going to put that back up here. And I'm actually going to put this back to being an M because it's our M. It's our main coil. Okay, capital M. All right, good. Now to make our coil close, it needs to actually touch or have a completed circuit to the lines or the neutral side. So I'm going to draw a line from, I'm going to maintain the same height up here because I can see I'm there. And I'm going to bring this down to here, here, and here. And then I'm going to change this stuff here to the neutral layer. All right, so now if this push button is pushed, what happens? It closes this, the power comes through and it makes this contact, this coil activate. So if there's any contacts, which I'm about to draw those in just a second, those will close or open depending on what positions they were in. Whenever you're looking at a wiring diagram, you're looking at shelf state. What that means is no power to it. It just came off the shelf. It's sitting on the shelf, and that's what it's sitting on. So if you have a coil in your hand or a relay in your hand, and it says there's a normally open connection and a normally open connection and two normally closed connections, that means that without doing anything to it, those two normally opens are open. They're not connected. Okay, the two normally closed connections are closed. So if you were to put a continuity tester across each side of the closed connections, you would get a beep or a buzz, or you'd show they're actually continuity. And then you do the same thing to those. If you put them the normally opens, they would not be open. But the second the thing is energized, all that would flip. The normally closed connections become open, and the normally open connections become closed. That's a little bit confusing sometimes to a lot of people, but we'll kind of get into that a little bit more here, a little bit. Okay. So now we've kind of drawn this. Let's create another block. Bring this down here. And we're going to call this is going to be our normally open connection. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and explode this. Boom. And I'm actually going to move this one here over to the right layer. I didn't do that a second ago. All right, symbols. All right, so I'm going to erase this here. I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Then I'm going to draw a line from, say, here up to here. And then I'm going to mirror this line from the mid of here to here. Then I'm going to trim this out. And there I have my contact. Okay. Notice how it looks proportional. It all looks like it's fitting together and everything is kind of good right there. All right. So now in our diagram, we had a jumper going from here down to here. So I'm going to draw a jumper from here, here, boom, and come up to here, here, and then I go to F8, boom, and there I am. So I'm going to change these to the same layer as this. All right, now I need to I did not make a block of this. So let's do that real quick. So we'll make a block. I'll type in block. Now keep in mind, once you have a block library in place, you don't have to go through this effort to make your blocks. A reason I'm doing this from scratch is so you can see how to actually build this stuff from scratch, so you know what's going on and you can understand how a block is supposed to be built. And you can therefore, if you need to create blocks on the fly, you can actually mimic some of the things that are already there and you can create those blocks and make your life a lot easier. If you open up a drawing and everything is exploded, there's no blocks whatsoever, it may behoove you to go ahead and make some blocks and actually fix that drawing properly. But again, depends on how many hours you're given for the project and how much time you have to spend on the drawing. You may find that creating the blocks will make life a little easier. And the next time you have to modify that block drawing or copy it to another project, you have the benefit of it being done properly. All right, so we're going to call this contact. And we're going to call this NO, normally open. All right, I'm going to pick my point. My point, again, is going to be this lower left-hand side. And we're going to get into that in just a minute when I start placing these as blocks. I'm going to select the objects here to here. And that's all I need to do. Allow explode, pick OK. Now I can actually change this to the symbol layer, and we're good to go. So let's what happens when I insert something. If I type in insert, All right, it's gonna pop up this silly looking box, which I hate this. You pick this and you drag over here. I hate the insert command. Okay. I'm gonna use the regular insert command, dash insert. Okay, and I'm gonna type in the name of the block. Okay, contact. Okay, so if I pick this here and I put it on the, say I was putting it over here, I wouldn't do this, but now it's gonna prompt me for a scale factor. Hit enter, and then it asks you for another scale factor, which is the X and Y scale factor. Okay, hit enter. Now, if I rotate it, notice how it goes in the direction that I'm going. So if I wanted to actually drag this direction, it would go with me. If I want to go up, it'd go with me. If I want to go down, it would go with me as well. So that's what's nice about having it on that left-hand side and making sure it started off in the 0 orientation, because then you can actually kind of control where it goes when you're inserting. Okay, otherwise you'd be picking a point that's like perpendicular, and it's easier to pick a point that's in alignment because sometimes you have a line that you're actually trying to pick the end to, and you actually want it to line up in that particular point there. For these that are kind of orthogonal, there we have, ortho is going to be, it's going to be vertical or horizontal. It's relatively easy, but if you get on something that's actually on angles, you definitely will appreciate that for your blocks. Okay, so we're going to take, now we're going to add another switch. So I'm going to copy this switch down here. All right, put that here, and we're going to explode this. And I'm going to move this from here down to here. All right, now I just need to extend this handle up a little bit. Just a little bit, so it had a little bit more control that I can actually reach and push that. This is my stop switch. All right. So I'm good here because if I push this down, it will break these contacts and will not allow the electricity to flow through. So let's make our block here, block command. Again, I'm going to pick my point. That insertion point is critical. You control that. You want to pick it. All right, selecting my objects, going across here. Now I'm going to give it a name. Okay. Now I look through here. I see some of the blocks I've used. I used push normally open. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to type in push. What I call it, switch. I forgot. Push switch. All right, push switch. Normally close. Okay, and there we are. We're good with that. I pick OK, and that is done. So that's our switch. Now I'm going to go ahead and put that on the symbol layer. Now I'm going to feed this from here because I need to have come across here, go about here, here, back over to here, down and to here. All right. So truthfully, this part here should probably stretch out to match that to look clean. Boom to there. That looks good. All right. So that's good. So this is looking like it should. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this over a little bit because I actually want this to be a little bit inset. All right. I actually don't like it lining up. So you will struggle with this part because you'll I would like this line up. I don't really want this to line up. You kind of get there, you kind of figure things out. All right. So now we're going to take this across here. We're going to create some more contacts down below here. I just need to actually add another normally open contact down here. And then I need another one that's normally closed. So I'm going to copy this one, put that here. And we're going to explode this one. And I'm going to put a line across here to show it's actually closed from here to here. Now that's a closed contact. Now I'm going to block. And I'm look at the name of my block, contact normally open. So this would be contact normally closed. Contact normally closed. And we're going to pick our point. It's going to be the lower left corner. And we'll convert to block. And we're going to select our objects. And pick OK. And that's done. Now we have a block. I'm going to set that on the symbols layer. Boom. And so we're good to go. Now I need this to jump her down and come down here and touch both of these. So I'm going to go P line from here. I'm going to come out. Actually, I'll come to here and then come across here and then come back down here, here, here. And I'm going to come out a little bit. Boom. And then back down here and then over here. Notice I'm not having to use my O snaps. I'm not picking a whole bunch of points. I'm using snap because my snap is set. It allows me to pick the exact points that I actually want to pick. I don't have to worry about it being off by a 0.00325. I don't have to really worry about my ortho actually being on because I can draw pretty straight lines as long as I have that snap on. Because if you look at this, if I'm drawing a line here, I turn off ortho, it's snapping. So it's not going to snap down here weird. So I can easily get it on snap or on ortho by just clicking on those points because it kind of keeps me on that pretty quickly, easily. Because The vertical change is going to be a 0.065, so that's going to be a drastic change, and I can see that pretty easily. I'll only get out here is when it kind of gets weird, but you can line that up with your crosshairs and you're good to go. Okay. Erase that. I'm going to change all this to this layer here. All right. Now, looking at the rest of that, we want to add some lights. Okay, I'm going to copy this down here because I want some lights. Boom. And we're going to essentially use the same block, but I'm going to kind of tweak this up a little bit. For this one, I don't necessarily need those little circles, but I'm going to leave them on here anyway. Now I'm going to draw some lines, a line from 2UA of here, and I'm going to go up to 0.1.25. All right, that's good enough. I'm going to offset this circle there. Boom, and I'm going to trim this. Now I need to array this, erase. I don't need this. Now I'm going to need dash array. I need 4 of these from the center polar, from the center of here. And I'm going to say I need 4 items in the array, 360 degrees, and yes, rotate them as you go. Now I'm going to rotate all of those 45 degrees because I want them to be at 45 degrees. From the center, boom, 45. Now they're there. Now I have my light. Now, instead of being coil, though, it's a light. So I'm actually going to say here, we'll say color because we're looking for a color of our light. I'll actually say light color. So it's actually makes more sense. Light color. Color of light. Okay. Not color. God, I can't type. And we're going to put a default of R for red. Click OK. All right. Now it draws all the way across there. We're not really worried about that because as soon as I convert this to a block, it's going to go to the attribute. It's going to be R when I'm done with it. So let's block. Make this into a block. We're going to call this pilot. All right. I'm going to select my objects here. And my insertion point is going to be, as you know, right there. Okay, and I'm good to go. Pick OK. And now it's there. Now I have my red for my light. Okay, so now I need to put this on the appropriate layer. I'll do that. Symbols. Boom. Done. I'm going to copy this from the same layer here down to here. Now these are a little close together, so I want to stretch those apart a little bit. I'm going to use the stretch command. I'm going to just draw right through here. And I'm going to stretch that down just a couple of ticks. All right, and now it kind of looks a little better. Now I can draw a line from here to here, line from here to here. And now I need to connect these to the neutral side. So I'm going to go line from here to here, line from here to here. Now I can cheat and I can use the fillet command, F0, fillet command with a radius of 0, tag these together here, and it now brings that down. Now I can change all these to this layer, and I change these to this layer. I'm using the CL command. It's actually a list routine, but the same effort of going highlighting here and then picking it and putting it on the line layer. All right. Line does not stand for it being aligned. It means for it being the line side. So this would be 120 volts AC line. This would be 120 volts neutral over here. All right. So between the two of them, you have 120 volts. All right. So maybe I want some text over here, so I can actually place some text here. I'm just going to place that, and I'll set it in the center. I'll place it here. Boom. And we'll call this L1. L1. Boom. And then I'm going to copy this from here over to here. And we'll call this N, not NB. N. All right, good. So we've got our circuit here. We've drawn this in. We're not quite done. We need to fix this up because we're going straight to the contact here. And we need to fix this a little bit. So what I need to do here is take this, okay, from here and take it down to where it connects down here. So I'm going to just fix that up real quick. I'm going to go to line. Actually, I'm just going to mirror this set of line work over here. Okay, so I can mirror that from between here and here. Boom, and I'm done. And actually, I'm going to mirror this again. I didn't get that. And I'm going to mirror in between these two. Notice that it's not a middle point. So I'm going to say M2P of here and here to get me there. I'm going to say yes. And now I have that properly done there. Now I can take this and trim it. And here I am here. So that's good. All right. So now I need to take this to the other side of my contact or my coil. Okay. So I'm going to stretch this. I'm going to actually just take this and stretch it down. I could use the move command or the stretch command. All right. And I'm gonna bring it down to here, and now I'm gonna get the line from here to here. All right, I'm gonna change that to the appropriate layer, and here I am. So what this means, these are all, since there's no other relays shown, this would default to be an M, M, and M. This is normally closed, normally open, normally open. So I'm gonna add some text above each one of these relays, copy. Now you could add, made these part of the block if you wanted to as well. Okay, but I'm gonna place this right here. And right here. And right here. See how easy it is for me to actually put that in the same spot on every one of those? Now here's another trick. If you want to change all these at the same time to M, you can highlight them all. And then come over here to value, okay, where it says M in the text part here. Where's that? Okay. Can't see. They're all text. Boom. Boom. Oh, where it says contents. And you hit M right there. And then they're all gonna be an M. All right. So now you have all that done. Now I need a stop and I need a start. So I can actually copy those. I can actually just take this one up above it. Boom. And I can put one here as well, but you look like we're having a little bit of cramped issues there. So what we can do is we kind of stretch this around a little bit to make life a little bit better for us. Type in stretch command. I'm going to come across here and across here. Notice where I'm doing. I'm not going too far down here to catch that. I'm going to stay up here. And it wouldn't matter if I did because that's a block. It's not going to stretch that way. It's only going to stretch the line work that I have there. But since I've actually encompassed these insertion points with those, it will actually grab those and take those up. So I'm going to stretch that up a couple of 4 ticks. Okay, and now I can actually copy this from here down to here. And now I can change these. I can click on there, I can say start. And here I can say stop. Okay, so what this means is typically you have, this is a control circuit. Inside of a motor control center, you'll have a cubicle, an MCC cubicle, that will have a contactor in it. Now this is the main coil for that contactor, and it'll actually have some contacts over here, which are the main contacts for your motor load. So if you had 480 volt coming through here, which let's go ahead and draw that up so you can see what that kind of looks like. I'm going to go ahead and draw some, looks like this. Boom. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this over here. I'm going to rotate this from here up. I'll move this here, there, and down over to here. All right. And then you'd actually have this coming down to a motor. Okay. I'm going to draw a motor. I'm not going to make a block of it or anything like that. But I'm going to draw kind of a motor here. Let's say 0.25. The motor is going to usually have a little bit bigger circle than like your coil or anything like that. So I'm going to move that to there. And so these will all come down to here to this. So I'm going to actually move this here. I'm going to make a copy. Wrong button. Paper copy. And I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm going to bring it over. And what's a good distance? 0.25 is too close. 0.3125 is okay, but 0.375 is probably better. And I'm going to do essentially the same thing and do it again. All right. So now I have 3 lines coming through. Okay. This would be phase A, B, and C. So I'm going to say A, B, and C. This would be 480 volts or 208 volts, depending on what the side, what the actual voltage of the motor is. And then these would come down. This one is actually already in the center of that, so we're good. You can send this down here, here. Okay, I'm going to bring these. I'm going to stretch these down just a little bit. Oops. About here, and then I'm going to draw a line from here to say center of here, and then from center of here to P and D point of here. Trim this out. Boom. Now those all come appropriately and look good, and everything flows smoothly. I'm going to put this on the same layer as this stuff because it's kind of there. All right. And then what will happen is when you hit the start button here, you momentarily push this button in. What that does is that engages the coil here. That engages. So that coil becomes hot, it's energized, and it closes this contact here. So when you let go of this, it's still held in place by itself. This closes this contact and keeps it in place until it's disconnected. So now this circuit is flowing through here. It's coming right on through. Notice the stop switch is still there because it allows the electricity to flow right on through it. That means at this point, this light, okay, This one here is turned off. I need to change this to green. Okay, G. Okay, green means it's ready to run. R, red, means it's running. Okay, so as soon as you engage this, you push this down, this engages, this closes, and this opens. And these all close. So now the motor is running. You let go of the start switch, it stays running. Okay, the only way to stop this is to actually break this circuit right here. When you push this stop button, whether it's momentary stop button or a hard stop button, it doesn't really matter. Because if you disengage that and you push that down, say it pushes back, you push it down, it opens this circuit, and this opens back up, this opens back up, this closes back up, and all of these open, and then you let go, and then the circuit is open. So these are momentary start and stop buttons. So you just push them in momentarily and it engages and makes that kind of flow through. So that gives you a little bit of a electric circuit there that you can kind of get familiar with and kind of understand. And if you notice this, when you plot this out, this would look appropriate on a D-size drawing. This is 1/8 inch text. These are 1/8 inch dots. These contacts and symbols and everything else look appropriate in their size, but array there and everything else. Typically on this, you'd actually have the motor horsepower in here, and you'd actually list the 480-volt motor, and you'd actually have a tag or description of what that motor is actually for. All right, this is just kind of a showing you how this would actually look like. This is more of a schematic type situation. We do have things called one lines, which is a little bit simpler to go through, but we'll kind of cover that stuff later as we kind of go through things. All right, I think that kind of covers a lot of content there for us. You guys have any questions or anything like that?
I don't, but I'm definitely gonna go back and redraw mine how you did yours here.
Okay, yeah, practice making your blocks, understand what that insertion point is, because if you go back to your example here that you had. Okay, again, I do applaud you for doing the work and assignment. And that's the purpose of it, is to kind of get you kind of flowing with it, understanding where you can make it, because you can think about this in theory all day long, but then you actually start practicing it, you're like, oh well, crap. And the problem is by default, if you go here to a new drawing and you type in circle and you pick it here and boom, you're like, okay, I want to make a block. You type in block, you pick your object, you're like, okay, I'm great. And then you say, okay, boom. And this is all, it's not specified. And you type in my block and you type in my block and you hit okay. Then suddenly there's your block. You're like, cool, I got my block. I can move it around. It's all one thing, happy go lucky. But if you notice, the insertion point is by default 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, not 0, 0.
Oh, that's why mine were
And
all. I
that's
didn't
why
specify
yours
that
are
that
off,
way.
because of the defaults when you type in the block command will set you there. So you always want to make sure that is specified on screen, and then you're going to be kind of forced to actually pick a point when you actually hit the OK command. And so that's going to help you out there in that aspect of it. All right. And understand the difference between the array command and the dash array command. Okay. If I type in array, okay, bring it here, I hit pick my object, and it just instantly goes into this rectangular, path, polar, or whatever. Okay, the last one I used was polar, so it's kind of doing that. Okay, so I hit P polar, then it's saying, hey, where's your center point? Hit pick here, and then suddenly it goes into this. You already see an array. This tells you that you're in the enhanced version of the array command. It's trying to make this all happen for you and do it, cleverly for you. I prefer just a regular dash array command, because this one actually prompts you for a lot of extra stuff, and it kind of makes it a block. Okay, so now this is one block. It's a block array. It's a special entity that essentially has all these objects in an array, defined array. So you can actually come here and tweak this a little bit. I can make it go out here, which is kind of a cool feature if you want that flexibility. But in all my years that I've actually done it, I have never once used this particular aspect of it, because this is actually something that's clever for other people and not necessarily us. Okay, so you have things you can hear, you close it and boom, here you are. So you have all kinds of different things you can do with the array in this state, but I don't recommend it. And just use the dash array command. It's going to give you different prompts and things like that. So I can array this array. I can say P polar, pick here, and I can say I want 10, and then I can say 360, and I don't care if it rotates or not. Boom, and there I have, looks like a molecular biology, assignment there. And I think Brandon had asked, how do you make the bullet array thing, like for the James Bond thing? Okay, so what you can do is you can draw a line here, boom, and you put it out here, like so. And then I can type in dash array, and pick here, and I'll use 0,0,0. Oh, P for polar, 0,0,0. And then I can say, number of items, let's say 400 and 360, and yes, boom. And there's the way that kind of looks together. Okay. I put probably too many objects in there. If you wanted fewer, you can make fewer, undo, dash array, and we'll make it a little bit simpler. If I bring this a little bit closer down here and a little bit more tight in, might get a little bit better. So dash array. And if you actually made it an arc, it might actually mean a little bit more. So let's do an arc. Okay, ARC from here, here, and like so. All right. And I don't want it quite centered looking. Bring it down here. Now to dash array. Go here. 0,0 polar. 0,0. Boom. And I want 120 and 360. Boom. And then you kind of see how that kind of works out to your favor. All right. I think that did that answer your question, Brandon?
I'm sending you something closer. Hang on.
What's that?
My phone will trying to
Okay.
send you something.
Oh, okay.
My phone will stop arguing with me.
All right, no worries.
Close
Okay.
enough, I guess. It's not exactly how it is in the thing, but that does answer it because it's just going to be tweaking that then.
Yeah, and you can create multiple arrays and things like that to make things look a little bit more energetic. You can add additional entities. You can add a little bit more cross in there. You can add a little bit of a warped torus looking figure and then array that, and that would actually give you that James Bond look, but staring down the bullet or the chamber or the barrel. Let's call it the barrel. Go with that. All right. Before I sound any more like an idiot on this particular recording, I'm going to stop that. Uh-oh. I did start the recording, right? Yes. Okay. Boom, record, transcribe, and stop recording. There we go.